Damn it, I can't. Chronicles of Reddit Volume 1. I don't think we ever watched this. Next bar. I remember this intro, but it shows that I didn't watch this video. So we'll see. Dude, this sounds so good with the louder monitoring going on. It's at 100% monitoring now.
Running this channel involves a lot of digging, prowling, exploring down in the darkest corners of the internet. Throughout the years, we've gone down some of the internet's wildest rabbit holes in our internet investigation videos, dug through various cursed and cult-related video game urban legends and console conspiracies, and experienced some of the wildest real-life videos, events, and social media posts out there in disturbing things. While this catalog of series effectively spans a wide portion of the creepier side of the web,
where do people get this footage? There's so much of this stock footage out here of people just typing in dark rooms. I see this kind of shit everywhere, but I don't know where the hell people get these videos.
Content out there that, surprisingly, doesn't seem to fit the mold that I've created for any of these. I throw a lot of potential topics away. Topics that have unnerved me and would most likely unnerve you because they're just weird. And that's where this series comes in. Welcome to episode 1 of Chronicles of Reddit, a series dedicated to diving into the odd, strange, and bizarre part of the internet that doesn't quite fit the bill for a Disturbing Things episode or a full-fledged video. While the case, this series will still carry an anthology
Premium account to Shutterstock, probably. That's probably where it all comes from.
formats and will be a more casual, analytical dive into the less disturbing, more puzzling mysteries on Reddit that I've stumbled upon in my hunts for video topics. Without further ado, sit back because tonight we're diving into 3 perplexing mysteries that I've recently discovered.
I'll give that a shot. Yeah,
Reddit.
not tonight, but I will. Because that seems fun. It worked surprisingly well.
To lead off on this series, I'd like to redirect your attention to the Too Afraid to Ask subreddit. As the name suggests, the board's primary purpose is to house the various questions that one wouldn't be keen on asking publicly. There's a user that visited there a few months ago by the name of Iceman Throwaway 123. Appearing to
This
be a
seems
big
like
fan
a
of
cool
PCs
thread.
and graphics cards, evident by his multi-month Reddit history, he was active in discussions spanning various boards related to the topic. Strangely, on July 29th of 2019, he'd make a post out of left field that would quickly climb its way to the top of Too Afraid to Ask. That morning, at 10:55 a.m., he'd submit it with the title, 12 mysterious and identical stores open on my street. What could be happening?
Money laundering.
It reads as follows.
I'm sorry, Meg. I'm a lazy content creator. I'll do better. I hope it gets better.
I live just outside a big city in what resembles a suburban main street. Like many suburban main streets, retail business has been rough and they've all closed down. After a month of nothingness, suddenly 12, yes, a dozen, identical convenience stores pop up. They look the same, they aim for the same floor plan, and they sell the same products at the same prices. The names are all tiny variations of each other, like Town Name Mart or Market of Town Name.
Next bar
and
has
all
to be
clearly bought
Canadian
their signs from the same place
because
as
of
the
his
fonts,
accent.
colors, size, and shapes are identical. These stores see no business, yet have large staff numbers and are surviving way longer than the former stores that closed on this street. When I enter one, they all stare at me while I shop. I don't usually get nervous, but it feels like they're staring threateningly rather than intently. They only accept cash unless you pay some $50. Most of their products are Walmart brand grade value products being resold for higher prices. Most of the products are expired food products. I bought bread from one without checking because I was in a rush, and it turned out that it was 2 months expired. Upon returning to show them, I found that the entire shelf was expired goods. What was even grosser was the dairy cooler. Which
We
had ancient
actually,
milk products.
you know what though? We actually do have a store like this in our hometown that me and Tusk basically grew up in called a resale bakery, where they will buy things that are almost expired, like breads and cakes and other stuff like that, and they'll resell them for cheaper, but not for more. Like they usually don't. They don't sell them for higher prices. That's just bizarre.
I'm so confused. I feel like I'm in an episode of The Twilight Zone. What's probably happening here? This post lit up like a wildfire. Users chimed in inquiring on details about his findings, and Iceman seemed to be fine with giving further details to help the case. Strangely, though, he was extremely hesitant to share anything that would give investigators
the
even
TJ
slightest
Maxx
clue at the state or region in which he lives, which threw a huge wrench in figuring this out. Before we get to that though, if we're assuming his story is legitimate, what's actually going on here? In one of his many follow-up comments, Iceman claimed various things, such as the fact that, quote, all the stores have expired food and seem to refresh every few weeks. And also, the bread I bought was a nasty shade of green on the inside. It seemed, at least to me, that this could have been a front for some sort of money laundering scheme. It all appears to check out as well. Create what appears to be a legitimate business in hopes of circulating your cash flow and buy back into your own store. Considering that this is what OP considers an old town, they might have figured that people simply wouldn't question it. Regardless though, this is just one theory in and of itself. Another Redditor actually suggested something that might be even more plausible.
Yeah, like, I think that's a pretty common business model that actually makes sense. I mean, you have bakery products that are about to expire. They get marked down from big box stores like Walmart, Kroger, Meijer, these places. They get marked down. You buy it for cheap. You sell it for the original price, or just sell it for the same price, and you make money on that. So that kind of makes sense. Maybe you increase the price a little, but it's still between the original cost and the discount. That makes sense. I mean, you're going to make money on that, but buying expired or close to expired food and then jacking the price up is like, what? What's going on here?
The comment submitted by a user named Infier reads as follows. Food stamp fraud. It's not a good fit for money laundering. The last thing you'd want for money laundering is a business with traceable inventory. There's probably some organization that's buying food stamps or fraudulently getting EBT cards and using them to charge fake food at these stores. Now, considering that the food stamp black market is and has been on the rise, this could very well explain this. Buy food stamps for cash, less than their value, and charge them fully on the overpriced and expired goods at your store. Makes sense. So case closed, right? Well, I'd say so. However, there's one more layer to this that makes this entire situation a bit stranger. Let's back up for a second. Iceman Throwaway, contrary to his name, actually has an extensive multi-month post history like we mentioned prior. He was incredibly active on various PC and graphics card related subreddits. However, the last post he ever made was this one. As of today,
God.
He's completely gone, vanished entirely from Reddit. Of course, this added fuel to an already burning flame of utter curiosity. And so
I mean, he was really afraid to ask this initially, so maybe that's why. Maybe this is kind of a throwaway account.
Lingered in the back of my mind. What happened to Iceman? In one of his comment responses to people asking about this, he claimed that he'd go back to the streets and take pictures to substantiate his claims. But those never actually materialized. This ended up leading to two predominant theories.
Sorry, Mac.
On one hand,
you can just drink coffee now.
Projecting that he could have been caught taking photos and was possibly reprimanded or killed. On the other, though, many were shouting hoax. Personally, I'm led to believe the latter. While Iceman's sudden disappearance after making this post is suspect, at the end of the day, his name is Iceman Throwaway. For all we know, he could have easily started this account with the full intention of shutting it down at some point thereafter.
Yeah, mattress firm. They did the same shit where they would open like 6 mattress firms in one town. How often do you buy a mattress? Once every 4 or 5 years at the most? So who the fuck, what kind of demand would there be for there need to be 6 mattress firms in one town ever?
He could have simply wanted to go out with a bang, leaving his everlasting mark on the subreddit. A 5-month-long post history really isn't that long at all in the grand scheme of things, and the sheer plausibility of this being an alternate account really drives this theory home. With the lack of any location information, combined with the absence of images or any search results from other people that might be suspicious of 12 sketchy stores that might have randomly popped up in their town, it seems, at least to me, that this was all a fabricated story that grew larger than Iceman ever thought it would. While intriguing, all we can really do is wait. On one hand, if he does return to Reddit with photo or location proof, then that will lead us down another intriguing rabbit hole in and of itself. If not, though, then we're simply left with another case of OP not delivering, leaving this entire situation shrouded in mystery as one of the weirder and more perplexing oddities that came and went faster.
Dude, we
than
should
could
browse
ever
Too
find
Afraid to
answers
Ask.
for.
I'm actually so curious about Too Afraid to Ask. I'm really curious about this. I'm in my early 20s and play badminton with my kid living down the street to unwind instead of partying with my peers. What? What? Okay, well, I have made a mistake. What? Boys with long penises when flaccid. How do you stop your penis from touching the toilet water when sitting? Okay, well, that's not at all what I expected to find here. That's enough of that.
I'm not sure about you, but I'll definitely be following this. For all we know, I could be wrong, but it looks like only time will tell.
I made a mistake, obviously. I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know what that was. I don't know what the hell that was. Oh, I love the sound though, dude.
This next entry involves an odd situation that played out on the legal advice subreddit about 5 years ago. At about 6 a.m. on Tuesday, February 24th of 2015, a user by the name of Concerned Hubs would make a post with the title, "Need advice on talking to police regarding my wife." It reads the following. "My wife hasn't returned home since she went out shopping late Saturday. It's getting to the point where I should call the police to file a missing persons report. I'd like to be as helpful as possible when speaking to the cops, but I want to avoid triggering any suspicions about me. I hear a lot of stories of husbands being falsely accused when something happens. Should I only give them info?"
Wait. Did we watch this? I think I remember this.
I can't postpone. It's getting to the point.
My wife? Oh, no, we have not watched this. My wife has not returned home since she went out shopping late Saturday. It's getting to the point where I should call the police to file a missing persons report. I would like to be as helpful as possible when speaking to the police, but want to avoid triggering any suspicions about me. I hear a lot of stories of husbands being falsely accused. Yeah, you sound pretty goddamn suspicious. When something happens, should I only give them information in response to specific questions? Is there anything I should not bring up? Uh-oh.
Point where I should call the police to file a missing persons report.
Oh,
I'd
no.
like to be as helpful as possible when speaking to the cops, but I want to avoid triggering any suspicions about me. I hear a lot of stories of husbands being falsely accused when something happens. Should I only give them info in response to certain questions? Is there anything else I shouldn't bring up? I'm planning on contacting the police tomorrow morning. I can't postpone much longer as I'm getting messages asking about her, and I don't want to say anything to her friends or family until I file the report first. I now realize that I should have talked to her friends and family first, but at this point, I don't want to explain why I didn't file a report yet." And like gas on a flame, the comments blew up. "So where'd you hide her body? Seriously, just from this fucked up post, I think you killed her. There's absolutely nothing you can say or do to avoid triggering suspicion. You absolutely should call the cops. Don't do it tomorrow. Do it right now. Unless your wife is in the habit of disappearing for days at a time.
Just got a splinter in your
What are you
foot? Oh
thinking?
no.
If I last heard from mine Saturday...
Dude, I have this this is so disgusting, I'm not going to show it on camera, but I pulled this hangnail off of my left ring finger, and it is like dug into the side of my nail bed right now, and it hurts so fucking bad. I soaked it in salt water and put alcohol on it, so it's clean right now, but it's been like leaking pus, and it's fucking disgusting.
I'd be totally freaking out. Mods chimed in too.
What's up, sick boy?
This is, if true, one of the most fucked up posts I've ever seen on here, and that's really saying something. Your wife disappears for 48 hours, and you have not yet contacted authorities, when most people...
Oh, this is what I was talking about, by the way. You already know. These upgrade pieces, I'm going to order 2 more sets of these and put them on my black and other gray silver pair of these. So yeah, it's only replacing these 2 screws, but fucking lining everything up is a nightmare. So yeah, then I'll have 3 actually good pairs. Amazing. Took long enough to fix the black ones being a piece of shit. These. They finally stay in place and click the way that they're supposed to. You hear that? I finally have a plan for a new channel intro and or outro. Still in the process of planning how to make it, but I have the music picked out too. 80s synthwave horror. That sounds fucking awesome. I would love 80s synth themed. Obsessed with micro mods? Well, the thing is, these headphones are designed... They're studio equipment. They're designed to be fixable, right? Upgradable. Well, this is the upgrade piece right here. Here's the old one. That's what it looks like on the old one. I was playing online Tetris, and these Tetris nerds are insane. I got my shit rocked so fast. Yeah, dude, they're nuts. They are fucking crazy. But what was I gonna say? Getting so sick of the current ones. Well, Mag, I scripted out a whole review of these. I don't know if I ever sent you the transcript for them. I'll do that now. I made a whole script for the review of these headphones, and I sent it to Sick Boy and a couple other people. I just didn't know if you'd be interested in it. I'm not gonna basically read this. It's not like a script. You know, it's not like a script, but it's you know, it's a guideline to follow. Record the review. I will. But yeah, that's exciting. So that's done. Anyways, let's get back to the video, because that's what we're all here for. Nobody gives a fuck about me. Just kidding. So this guy posts that his wife has been missing for 48 hours, and he's asking if he should contact the authorities and how to not bring suspicion to himself, which in and of itself is very suspicious.
Within a few hours, you haven't contacted her friends and family to ask if they've seen her or to let them know there's a problem. Even now, you plan to contact police tomorrow morning, waiting yet another 12 hours for no reason whatsoever. Before contacting police, however, your main concern is to avoid suspicion on yourself. You're asking about procedural questions for talking to police when, for all you know, your wife could be kidnapped, injured, or worse. You demonstrate no concern for her safety whatsoever.
Yeah, you're more concerned about yourself than your fucking wife.
I'm sure you get the picture by this point. This so-called plea for help was raising red flags left and right. Some even compared the situation to the plot of Gone Girl, as he appears to simply be putting on a front, acting like he's worried about his wife. But the thing is, he's 3 days too late. Remember how I told you that he posted this on a Tuesday? Yeah, he waited that long. And so he sends out comment after comment after comment, defending himself from the onslaught of responses that were grilling him for his inaction. Sorry, I'm a bit sensitive right now. I've never been charged with abusing my wife. I did not kill her. She is not dead. And a few hours later, he'd post an update. Update. It turns out that she left a note for me saying that she was leaving town for a while to spend time with an old friend, so there's no need to report her missing as of now. I'm going to have my wife's best friend make some calls to my wife's family and friends to let them know that she's okay. Now, my first thought when I read this was that she really must be old-fashioned. With the advent of the modern smartphone having happened about 8 years prior, you would think that something as primitive as a note would be insufficient notice for your significant other taking some sort of random vacation out of nowhere. This single detail led me to question whether it actually exists or is simply a decoy to get people to calm down. This is further supported by the fact that he stated that she'd been missing since she, quotes, went out shopping late Saturday night. You'd think that if this were the case and she decided to get up and leave from shopping on some sort of random vacation out of nowhere, a simple text message, a phone call, or anything for that matter would be a more effective way to give someone a heads up. But
yeah,
hey,
this is really
to
suspicious.
each their own. Regardless, though, according to the OP at least, she ended up being okay. Whether or not this was just a front to get people off his back or to allow the conversation to die down, this post and situation stands as a testament to the fact that if you act sketchy in an attempt at absolving yourself of suspicion, then suspicion just might find its way to you.
Update 3. Whoa. I got banned from legal advice because some idiot was pretending to be my SIL. Created Concerned Sis 9. You wrote a whole ass college essay. Well, I told you, Mag, like, I don't fuck around. Like, I take headphones very seriously. But yeah, that's if I'm gonna make a review, I gotta do it right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna make like a 10-minute review and be like, oh, this part of it's a 7 out of 10 and this part's an 8 out of 10 and blah blah blah. No, dude, if I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it right. So we gotta have every detail that I've noticed from all the notes that I've taken. Oh, I wanted to read this update here. Claiming to be his sister-in-law, I'm assuming. What's up, Ryrog? I was talking about a headphone review script that I made. It's for these. I scripted out a whole review for these headphones. Anyways, update number 3. I got banned from legal advice because some idiot pretending to be my sister-in-law created u/concernedsis9 and made a post about her sister being missing. Since this idiot created an account with similar to my username, the moderators apparently assumed our accounts were related. Anyway, as I reported in last update, the phone call from my wife's best friend to my wife's family did not go over well. I got some nasty phone messages from father-in-law and sister-in-law shortly after she called them, and they said they'll be calling the police immediately. Since I wasn't in the mindset to deal with the police today, I decided to stay in a hotel the next town over tonight. By late afternoon, I finally reconnected with my wife's friend. It turns out that my wife's family started acting suspicious toward my wife's friend. Turns out that the bitch sister-in-law who had previously made accusations against me is now making BS claims about my wife's friend. Why does he keep saying about wife's friend? This sister-in-law has had it in for me since a few days before the wedding and is very bitter about not being able to influence her sister like she could before. The constant meddling by my sister-in-law and father-in-law are actually why we moved to Kansas about 6 months ago. If it wasn't for my POS in-laws, I probably would have called the police much earlier. It's partly because of the false accusations and meddling by them that I was concerned about potential suspicions in the first place. So at this point, we're just holed up at the hotel for the night and we'll decide what to do tomorrow morning. Wait, we're holed up? Him and his wife, or what?
Suspicion just might find its way to you.
That was so bizarre. I don't even know what to say about that.
Last up is something that's intrigued me for months.
Welcome on in, by the way, Ryrog. Sorry about that.
On this, fleshing out the sheer mystery that we're about to get into. But given the fact that I haven't been able to find any concrete leads on it since I found it, it's just sat there on my topic list. Totally untouched. Allow me to introduce you to the mysterious farming game that's puzzled the tip of my joystick subreddit for about 3 years now.
This was the game I used to have downloaded in about 2006 before I upgraded my computer and lost it. It was a farming Stardew Valley style of game where you murder your wife and then you try to pretend you never killed her, and that was the whole game. Keep farming and make sure no one finds out you killed her. There was a fishing minigame, and I specifically remember fishing up evidence of your wife's murder, and then you pass out. Edit, it wasn't pretending to be a kid's game. It wasn't RPG Maker, and I got it off some indie dev's website. There were screens between each day that showed the date in the game, and one of the characters was an old dude with a white beard. I have no fucking idea what this guy's on about. I think this guy just wanted people to tip of my joystick. I actually like that, the idea of that, because there's definitely some games that I've tried to think of and I can't remember the title. So,
Tip of My Joystick, if you're unaware, is a play on the name of the Tip of My Tongue subreddits, which primarily focuses on hunting down the source of various things that people vaguely remember. Typically, someone will give a detail about something, and Redditors will jump in to suggest some answers as to what it could be. In April of 2016, a post was made by a user named Sparta213 who was inquiring on a video game that was, quote, kind of like Harvest Moon. It reads as follows. I know almost nothing about this game. All I can remember is that it's kind of like Harvest Moon, but with a dark twist. The game starts out with you and your wife. One night you get into a fight and you end up stabbing her to death. Now, the game revolves around you farming to stay alive while trying to keep the town from finding out about the incident that happened. Every now and then, the cops come to search your house and you have to hide her corpse. Now, going by the premise, this undoubtedly sounds like an eerie take on something like Stardew Valley. While this merely garnered just around 100 upvotes and 39 comments, interest in tracking this thing down, while scant, was there. Redditors jumped in.
There's two people that have asked about it.
Be a flash game, an old
Flo's Diner. I never played that.
Or even a top-down RPG named Wild Season. While these are all solid contenders, they all seem to lack at least one of the details outlined by the OP. For instance, Scapeland is a 3D farming sim that bears a mechanic centering on the police hunting you down at nights. However, it lacks the grim killing your wife part. Wild Season is a top-down pixelated farming RPG. However, it doesn't contain any sort of odd twist. And regarding Flash games, OP actually went forth to denounce it, claiming, Edit. I have no recollection of what console this game was for or when it came out. I know that it was released after 2000.
RIP Flash games for real.
So vague, but it's really hard to remember something you forgot. Also, it had to be before mid to early 2015. Graphics were not 3D. I'm 100% sure it wasn't a browser game. So, dead end. OP did go forth to explain in a few comments that he carries a gut feeling that it was released after the year 2000, and also that it was much more refined than a simple Flash game. Because of the obscure nature of this, combined with the fact that nobody was able to dig up anything about this, a user named Mikori chimed in with the postulation. At this point, the most likely origin of this game is your dreams. It's the exact sort of thing the average dream will create. Harvest Moon.
Yeah, because Flash was like officially not supported anymore by the end of 2020, I believe. So they like browsers just don't use it anymore. They all use HTML5 now. But yeah, I miss Flash games.
A terrible incident you have to suffer through in guilt while nobody around you actively notices and are just generally probably suspicious of you. Everyone has the guilt dream. This looks like yours. You probably mixed it up with real life, as everyone does sometimes. With how odd it is and how much actual gameplay and art they'd have to create to get it off the ground, I highly doubt anyone actually made this.
I'd agree with that.
Plausible. I've personally dreamed up some incredibly obscure situations, and for Sparta, this very easily could have been one of theirs. Unfortunately, though, without anywhere to go by this point, the mystery surrounding this seemed to fade just as fast as it came, as Redditors simply moved on to other ventures. That was until nearly 3 years later. Out of absolutely nowhere, on December 16th of 2018, a user named David Spade AMA jumped onto the board.
Yeah, that's the same one I just read. This is the one that I just read.
There was this game I used to have downloaded around 2006 before I upgraded my computer and lost it. It was a farming, Stardew Valley style of game where you murder your wife and then you try to pretend you never killed her. And that was the whole game. Keep farming and make sure no one finds out you killed her. There was a fishing minigame, and I specifically remember fishing up evidence of your wife's murder and then you pass out. As you'd expect, people were quick to jump on the connection to the post from 3 years prior. What some were led to believe was simply a dream or a non-existent fragment of the prior OP's imagination began to lean closer to the potential of being entirely real. In a reply linking his post to the former, OP claims, "Oh wow, I thought I was the only one." Not mentioned in that post was the pixel art gameplay and weird cutscenes in a different art style. It was downloaded off some shoddy indie devs websites that also had a ton of graphic live leak style videos to download. The name was so out there that I can't think of what it was. It might have started with Ash and then kept going, but that might have been another site. So
Some
before we
shoddy
continue,
indie dev
I want to
website.
point out something that doesn't quite line up. We have this lost, disturbing farming game that supposedly existed between 2000 and 2016. The prior OP claimed that it was a console release and not a PC game, but here we have this new OP claiming that he found it on a shoddy indie dev's website that contained what seemed like shock videos and gore. While nothing damning, these claims are contradictory, which throws another obstacle in our investigation. In an edit, he jumped back in to explain that it also wasn't a kid's game, wasn't from RPG Maker, and reinforced the fact that he got it off an indie dev's websites. Furthermore, he gave a detail explaining that in each day in the game, the date would pop up, and also one of the characters was, quote, an old dude with the white beard. Gleaner Heights?
Dude, I'm so
Moira,
invested in this.
Lakeview
I'm so fucking invested in this that I want to know.
Cabin? Unfortunately, at least according to the OP, none of these are it. Personally, I found that the closest premise out of all of these is Moira. While not a dedicated farming game outright, it centers on the main character being thrown into a pixelated farm. Your main task involves tracking down a missing woman in some nearby caves, and after finding her, you're left to either kill her or get help. The game was actually connected to online servers, and when you're asked questions by a bloodied farmer inside the cave, your responses would pop up in a playthrough for whoever plays the game after you. For all we know, OP could be mixing things up here, under the presumption that in this game, you kill your wife, possibly attributed to the fact that the person that played it before them might have mentioned something about a wife in their own responses. But even this is a pretty large stretch. A disturbing top-down farming sim is something that would undoubtedly be ingrained in my mind for many, many years. And personally, I feel like I'd know it when I see it. I know I would. But OP said this isn't it, and so the hunt continues.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever be found.
1 month later, in a third post related to this, a user named You Done Me a Bamboozle jumped onto the subreddit in the most popular take on the topic so far. Interestingly, his post would stand out from the others as he claimed that he downloaded it onto an old laptop from 2001
Oh, wow. Avoiding the police after killing your wife, living a normal life.
and still had it in his possession. Hi all, first time posting here. Today I found my old laptop, but sadly it won't boot up, but it brought back some great memories. Specifically, the following game. At the start of the game, you killed your wife, but after that,
Dude,
you
what
just
kind of
lived normal,
fucked up game is
managing the
this?
farm. However, it had a twist. The police could come at any time and find the body, so you had to constantly be wary and move it. The laptop was built in 2001, and I bought a new one in 2003, so it would have been between that time. It wasn't a browser game, and I think I may have gotten it from uTorrent, but I can't remember to be honest. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally had a lead. Like vultures, everyone honed in on one thing. We had to get that hard drive going by any means necessary. In what I'd consider the subreddit's largest act of mass collaboration, most of the commenters chimed in offering their services and even a GoFundMe in hopes of repairing that laptop, as it was the primary key to unearthing the identity behind this enigmatic video game. So OP went forth to thank everyone, but declined their offerings as they lived in the UK and most that were offering were in the US. They gave an update stating that they were going to take it to a local computer store in hopes of repairing
Dude, I
the
want to
damaged
know what
drive,
this is.
and they would report back later.
I'm so invested. I love the way he's told this story. But I have a feeling this was probably an RPG Maker game.
So time passes. The comment section becomes flooded with intermixed remind me posts, and everyone eagerly sat, awaiting the consensus on whether or not he'd get it working. Final edit. Sad news. The laptop is buggered. The moisture of the storage I placed it in has ruined it all. Any final suggestions? Others suggested professional data recovery. OP was willing. Edit cubed. I'm retrieving quotes from professional data recovery firms. And then, update. The platter of the hard drive was damp and it's been deemed unrecoverable.
Oh,
I'm really
Jesus.
sorry to have built hopes up. And just like that, brick wall. Again. And that's where it's sat to this day. While the mystery of the lost farming game is currently lost on eager investigators that have yearned for even a shred of an answer, the hunt has admittedly been exciting. Whether or not this disturbing pixelated Harvest Moon freeware wife-killing non-Moirai farming game ever comes to light is to be seen. But one thing's for sure. Personally, I believe it's out there. An indie game hosted on a shoddy website seems like something not that far out of the ordinary.
Yeah, in the 2000s,
While
you'd find that all the
seemingly
time.
Discovered by an extremely narrow niche of players, we can only wait and hope that someone out there comes forth with any sort of lead. A hard drive, a website, a key hidden inside a detail, so we can finally discover what this game actually was. If you're watching this and this sounds familiar to you, please get in contact. Post in tip of my joystick. Post in my subreddits. Anything. Let's put this mystery to bed.
How long ago was this video uploaded?
As we can see, Reddit holds a wide variety of curious oddities that span a plethora of various subreddits.
Sparta, the first OP, had insomnia. He fell asleep whilst watching a stream in which the streamer described a game called Body Harvest Moon with the same plot as Evil Farming Game. Sparta woke up thinking he once played it. The other two OPs were making it up. Oh, yeah. Body Harvest Moon was a, okay, that makes a little bit more sense, but yeah, I don't know if that game actually exists. But that was a really interesting story, man. I would love. From Reddit, the Evil Farming Game has been found. Disclaimer, it turned out not to be a real game. What do you say we watch some scary stuff while you guys eat? We watched Chronicles of Reddit. The Redditor that vanished. Let's watch the Redditor that vanished. Give me just a sec. I love this guy's videos so much. He inspires me to make these, but yet I still haven't.
There's something about mysteries rooted on Reddit that simply fascinate me. The variety of daily users from all walks of life congregating on one single public forum has created a sense of community that's nearly unmatched in the current online landscape. Because of this, The website's given us the ability to look into our fellow Redditors' post histories, giving us a small peek into the lives they live. Oftentimes, these are mostly mundane. However, if you do a bit of digging, you'll find some that stand anomalous, abandoned, and forever embedded within the corner they carved online. In 2017, a user named Flip made a post explaining that they're eager to try out a drug by the name of Datura. While the initial response was greatly against it, Flip ignored their advice and did it anyway, creating disturbing update comments and leaving behind baffled onlookers that feared the worst had happened to them. This is the story of Flip, a Redditor that vanished. Our mystery begins on the r/drugs subreddit. On the night of April 17th of 2017, Flip would jump in with the simple question. Finally got my hands on some Datura. How much should I take? Their post reads the following. Hi guys, I finally got some Datura to try out. I'm free tomorrow and have the house to myself, so I'm really excited to try the effects of this interesting plant. I have around 60 seeds, some dried flowers and leaves. How much should I take for a nice first-time trip? I was thinking of crushing up X seeds and making tea with them, drink the tea and smoke a couple of leaves while the tea is starting to take effect. Would 15 seeds be enough? Sources on the internet tell me a regular dose is around 10 to 20, but I've seen some talk about over 30 seeds. Thanks guys. After this thread went live, the overwhelming majority of commenters expressed caution, warning that if they were to do it, it could have permanent, lifelong effects and can even cause death. A user named Rect recalled their prior experience with Datura, claiming that they're still scarred from it in hopes of deterring the OP from giving it a try. I bought 2 Datura Inoxia plants from a local greenhouse and ate and smoked both of them over the course of about...
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to find out what actually happens here.
On the night of April 17th of 2017, Flip would jump in with the simple question. Finally got my hands on some Datura. How much should I take?
The hell's Datura?
Their post reads the following. Hi guys, I finally got some Datura to try out. I'm free tomorrow and have the house to myself, so I'm really excited to try the effects of this interesting plant. I have around 60 seeds, some dried flowers and leaves. How much should I take for a nice first-time trip? I was thinking of crushing up X seeds and making tea with them, drink the tea and smoke a couple of leaves while the tea is starting to take effect. Would 15 seeds be enough? Sources on the internet tell me a regular dose is around 10 to 20, but I've seen some talk about over 30 seeds. Thanks guys. After this thread went live, the overwhelming majority of commenters expressed caution, warning that if they were to do it, it could have permanent, lifelong effects and can even cause death. A user named Rect recalled their prior experience with Datura, claiming that they're still scarred from it in hopes of deterring the OP from giving it a try. I bought 2 Datura Inoxia plants from a local greenhouse and ate and smoked both of them over the course of about 2 weeks. I never noticed too many effects initially. Dry eyes and mouth, hot flush skin, rapid
What is
heartbeat,
Datura?
but I was...
What is Datura? Oh, poisonous. What the fuck? Okay.
Smoke a couple of leaves while the majority of commenters expressed caution, warning that if they were to do it, it could have permanent, lifelong effects and can even cause death. A user named Rect recalled their prior experience with Datura, claiming that they're still scarred from it in hopes of deterring the OP from giving it a try. I bought 2 Datura Inoxia plants from a local greenhouse and ate and smoked both of them over the course of about 2 weeks. I never noticed too many effects initially. Dry eyes and mouth, hot flush skin, rapid heartbeat, but I was 100% in a state of psychosis that whole time and for about 2 weeks after I stopped using it. Like someone here said, it's a deliriant, so I wasn't even aware of how totally fucked I was. My friends got increasingly worried about me, and I finally broke down mentally. About a month later, I got diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and severe panic disorder with derealization and depersonalization.
Jesus Christ, why would you even take
While the
this
effects
stuff?
felt by Recht were severe, another commenter shared that it's not always the case. According to a Logarithm the Great, they claim that the potency of the drug can vary from person to person and even sometimes through the time of day it's taken. After reading this, I went forth and cross-checked their claim with the psychedelic education resource
Hey, what's up, Dr. Red?
thirdwave.co, and found that while the time of day assertion isn't substantiated,
No, that's fine, dude. Don't worry about it.
so-called fatal dose ranges pretty widely. According to this guide, a dose as small as 100 milligrams of dry
Not much. For some reason, the video seems really loud in my ears.
seeds have been known to kill,
That's
while others have
better.
taken substantially more than that and lived. Considering how heavily any drug's effects can vary from person to person, this declaration isn't that surprising.
We're watching a video about a Redditor that disappeared. How have you been, Dr. Red? What are you doing on God's green flat earth today?
How many seeds should Flip and Flop take?
Got an air conditioner? Nice, dude. Those are the best. Window units when you're right next to them. I love them.
None. I hope this is a shitpost. Good luck and report back, please. Best effects will be achieved by doing none of it, I believe. Throw that fucking hell in the garbage.
Been good. Same, man. I
Sounds
worked, I
pretty
got some
unanimous.
sleep, and I'm here. Let's go.
Let's see how they took it. Update. I've crushed some seeds, around 15 to 16, in my mortar and put them in a glass of water. I've added some lemon juice and sugar to mask the taste. I'll just have to roll my joint with the datura leaves and I'll be set to go. I've decided I'll be sipping on the tea and slowly smoking the leaves until I feel the effect is strong enough. Of course.
Big
After
mistake,
this,
bucko.
Commenters were questioning why they'd subject themselves to such a dangerous substance. They were wished good luck and were given advice for the phenomenon that they were about to experience. For Flip and Flop, it was the point of no return. The train left the station, and they were on a one-way track to the inevitable consequences of Datura.
I can tell Nexplorer has a Go XLR. I don't know if he uses an SM7B, but I know for sure that he has a Go XLR because I can hear the effect just like this. And also, this is the exact same effect he used when reading Datura's original post.
It was at this point that commenters were tuned in. Everyone knew what was about to happen. However, hope for the best remained abundant. Remind me posts, well wishes, and questions on an update flooded the space. And, at least in that moment, all eyes were on the OP. "5:55 in the morning, April 18th of 2017. Google.com, how normal again, stop now.
Me after watching a Vsauce video thinking I'm smart. Oh god, dude, it's so true. You want? Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Needless to say,
Coming out of the bathtub and
everyone's
shit.
concerns were validated. However, it was good to know that the OP was still alive. The replies here were mostly well wishes, with a clear mood of apprehension. A user named Emilsko pled for the OP to reply to the thread when things became normal again, and another named Pest P gave their 2 cents on the matter as well. They explained that they'd ordinarily reassure the OP that they're going to be okay. However, considering the unpredictable nature of the substance and their own personal experience, there unfortunately aren't any guarantees.
Why, Datura? Why? You should have listened to everyone's advice on Reddit.
5:58 in the evening. Nearly exactly 12 hours later.
What the hell is this? That looks like No Man's Sky.
What you're looking at is a GIF posted by a Redditor named Nitris in the gaming subreddit. It's allegedly depicting mammoths in an accurate battle simulator.
Oh, yeah. The OP
Yeah,
is
they
flip
nailed
and
that
flop or flop and flip. You're right.
So why are we here? Well, because someone we know very well by this point made their way to this post specifically. Please, these big dog are fighting, not okay. It appears to me that Flip and Flop's trying to claim that, please, these big dogs are fighting, not okay. With the big dogs, of course, being their interpretation of the mammoths in that gif. If I'm being honest, it's safe to say that Flip and Flop's discovery of this post likely didn't do them any favors. Depictions of an animal quite literally launching another one in the air while under the influence of something as unpredictable as Datura.
It is GIF though. No, dude, the creator. No. The creator of the term has said that it's GIF. He said, he's like, first and foremost, I don't care how you say it. He's like, I don't have any influence over how you say it. But from what I originally intended, yes, it is GIF. He said it works either way, but he prefers to say GIF. If the creator of the term says GIF, I'm going to say GIF, motherfucker.
But that's just my guess.
Started learning Spanish. I took 4 years of Spanish in high school and can't speak shit of it.
Flip and Flop would never return. Their thread continued to rack up comments pleading for any sort of updates. However, through all of this, fear remained abundant that the worst had happened.
Yeah, but see, this could be a situation where...
Sadly, most of the search results surrounding the username Flip and Flop...
I mean, we just watched the video the other day about the game about, like, murdering your wife in Harvest Moon, and it was, you know, and the people who posted it just kind of disappeared because they probably garnered too much attention. They were just trying to troll. They didn't think that, like, hundreds and hundreds of people would want to find out what they were talking about. And it got too big, and then they got freaked out, so they just disappeared. That's probably what happened here. This guy was just trying to troll. It got way too big, and he was like, fuck this, I'm just going to go on my alt. I'm not going to use this account anymore, because everybody's going to track what I do, you know?
Flop aren't useful. I was hoping to dig up accounts that they might have migrated to on other websites, but I frustratingly didn't obtain much. Scouring
Pork roast and potatoes, that sounds amazing.
Battle. We can find a considerable amount of posts asking about him. However, concrete answers to that are non-existent. There was a Flip and Flop with 1P account I found that could have been a potential lead. However, considering that the last post they made was 8 years ago on the NoFap forum, it's needless to say.
On the NoFap forum. Wow. First week down.
That I was only left with dead ends. Speaking of dead ends, the following is a list of accounts and their current status I found on other websites with the name Flip and Flop. Imager, dead. Facebook,
what a place to find them.
Dead. Stumble Upon, dead. Photo Bucket, dead. Reddit, dead. Closemaster,
what?
Doesn't work. Taringa.net, dead. Babyblog.ru. This is getting weird, but dead. I'm sure you get the picture by this point. The name is surprisingly common, and the results increase tenfold once you factor in the other spelling of Flip and Flop. Brute forcing our way into tracking this person down is only going to result in wasted time and a massive headache. So I'm going to pause my search here and pivot my focus towards the actual drug he took because my curiosity's piqued. What even is Datura? How serious really is it? And is it actually as fatal as it's made out to be? To answer this, I made my way to a non-profit educational resource by the name of arrowit.org that specializes...
Dude, what the fuck? Yeah, there was this fucking thing I watched like years and years ago that tried to claim that Superman was stronger than Goku or some nonsense. I'm like, what are you fucking... Why are we even making these comparisons, dude? These are so stupid. Just arbitrary power level numbers and saying that one person is stronger than another because of some rando thing that got said in a comic strip 30 years ago. Like, dude, these are such stupid comparisons. I get that it's content, but there's just no point.
This is in providing information about various psychoactive plants and chemicals. In their entry about Datura, they claim that it's a woody-stalked, leafy herb growing up to 2 meters. It produces spiny seed pods
Stinkweed?
and large white or
Devil's
purple
weed?
trumpet-shaped flowers that face upward.
Oh no.
Most parts of the plant contain atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamin. It has a long history of use in both South America and Europe and is known for causing delirious states and poisonings in uninformed users. This definition got me curious on the effects of atropine, scopolamine, and hyoscyamin, and so I dug a bit further. According to Arrowhead, these are known as tropane alkaloids, capable of producing extreme psychoactive effects, including disorientation, confusion, hallucinations, delusions, panic, and more. Furthermore, the resource states that, in this class of hallucinogens namely, users are, quote, absolutely convinced that the hallucinations and delusions are, in every sense, real, and may attempt to interact with them.
Yeah, and also because you're getting dangerously into like fan fiction territory. Yes, I made a character who is a Namek that can go Super Saiyan and his power level is 11D billion and he can shoot spirit bombs out of his fingertips. Oh, okay. What's the point of this bullshit?
Range from amusing to dangerous. I see.
It's so stupid, dude.
This almost leaves me to wonder what kind of experience Flip and Flop had, since they can vary pretty widely.
11D billion, a real number, by the way.
As we know by this point, an update from their aftermath is non-existent, and at this time, we have yet to gather a detailed, first-hand account about a Datura trip. So what is it really like? A user on a website named steamit.com shared their story about 3 years ago. In their post, they claimed that they had taken about 8 dried seeds and were eager to experience the effects. After doing so, however, they were immediately met with extreme thirst, causing their, quote, mouth to dry up in a horribly scary way. The dose in which you get active effects is extremely close to the amount needed for a fatal overdose. Following this, they share, in detail, what it was they went through. After about an hour, I felt a weird mix of euphoria and dysphoria. It had a bizarre sense of fun to it, as reality and imagination blended to form one.
Dude, that is very
It gave me
scary.
a very
That's not
trippy
fun.
feeling, which was at the time chilling and scary. After quite a long time, maybe 2 hours, I felt poisoned as I can't remember how I acted or how I perceived the world exactly. I felt like I was dying, honestly. I thought it was quite a good way to pass out. Everything felt surreal, and I definitely had some weird hallucinations, which at the time felt realistic and normal. I went to bed and went to sleep quickly. I had a really weird dream in which something that looked like the Mothman was chasing me, and I had to combat it with a lot of weapons.
I am a Gigachad. I am one
The creature
Gigachad.
became outrageous. That's all I remember from the event. The next morning, I experienced depersonalization, photophobia, depression, anxiety, and a horrible hangover that lasted more than a week. This substance is just not worth it.
You don't fucking say.
Jumping over to a website named psychonautwiki.org, we can observe yet another Datura story from 2012. While this person's account is incredibly detailed,
450.
one section stood out to me, reading the following. About 15 to 20 minutes after downing the potion, I was already feeling very drunk and distended from my body. I hadn't even stood up from my original seat. I was just battling nausea. I had been fighting an incredible urge to purge since the first sip, and considering the sheer intensity of the confusion I was facing, I was abandoning the idea that I was going to peacefully meditate myself into another plane.
That actually reminds me. I know this is gonna sound very pussified, but the closest thing I've ever had to this is like when I was really young and they would give you that laughing gas at the dentist. Dude, it just feels like you're like floating above your body. You know what I mean? It doesn't even feel like you're there. It's really hard to explain.
I didn't even make it to the bathroom. I purged right back in the pot I prepared my brew in before I even got a chance to stand up. I might be paranoid, but I think this may have saved my life. I faded out a memorable consciousness after stumbling to the bathroom. The fades seemed to happen quite a bit.
Yeah, it was only when I was
I'll slip
super,
in
super
and out of
young, like 8 or
consciousness.
9.
With Datura, I still seem to function while I'm out, as opposed to the more familiar nod associated with opiates. With an opiate, I wake up right where I faded out. But with Datura, I wake up in a room I don't remember walking into. in the middle of doing things, or talking to people in contexts that don't make any sense, similar to a drunken psychosis. Now, it doesn't take much more of an explanation to understand why Flip and Flop's actions were ill-advised. Considering the claim from Steemit about the fatal dose being incredibly close to the one in which you feel the effects, combined with the possibility that Flip and Flop didn't have anyone with him to make sure he was okay, it all seemed like the perfect storm of what not to do when trying a substance for the first time.
Horrible idea all around.
As a matter of fact, in some ways, it almost seemed like too perfect of a storm.
I think this guy was just trolling, in all honesty.
What on this page stands out to you as a bit ingenuine?
I have around 60 seeds. What seems disingenuous? I want to try to find out. Posted on the day of the account. Oh, you're right. Oh, shit.
Here, I'll give you a hint.
Oh, he made the account just to do this.
On April 17th, the very same day that their one and only post was made.
Yep. He was trolling.
In the world of internet mysteries, observations like this stand out to me like a sore thumb. It appears to me that this account was made for the sole reason of discussing their story about Redditor.
Yeah, Sick Boy just hit us with the...
While, sure, they potentially could be separating this from their personal accounts and life due to the taboo nature of something like this, it unfortunately discounts the validity of their entire account.
True.
Furthermore, the fact that they used a throwaway profile for this post explains the lack of other social
quite
media
obvious,
or forum
actually,
handles with the name Flip and Flop existing online. Without any sort of hint at their location, their main account, or their interests, tracking down the actual person and cross-checking a potential case record is impossible.
Yeah, no way.
Now, don't get me wrong here. While I'm entertaining the idea that this could be fabricated, the sequence of events that took place lend credence to this being real. If we look at the post, it was made at 5:21 p.m. Central on April 17th of 2017. Over the course of the next 26 minutes, Flip and Flop would go from asking about trying it
to trying it
prepared. If we're considering the potential that their mind was made up on doing it and they had everything on hand, then this preparation time frame checks out. Furthermore, considering the fact that they made their first update comment at 5:55 in the morning also drives home the point that they could have been enduring their Redditor trip all night, falling in and out of consciousness.
I'm gonna go compose some classical music to relax.
Then getting up that early just to post an update comment about your fake story seems like a bit of a stretch. I mean, we've seen determination like this before, but something about this comment really drives this story home.
I guarantee he was sat there like, ooh, what can I say that'll get everybody alight, that'll get everybody talking, and this is the perfect thing. That he would just so happen to post that as a comment on the subreddit post.
I suppose I entertain the idea of this being fake because I guess I just really hope it is. I hope there wasn't a loss of life after Flip and Flop's curiosity led them to try.
I like these retro graphics.
I really hope we're all being bamboozled by a poster that simply wanted to make their mark, forever cementing their creation within Reddit history. But that's something that, at this point in time, unfortunately can't be answered.
Yeah, here's the thing, dude. Well, I'll let the video finish before I go talking. We're almost ready to play. I just want to see what else he's going to say about it.
The
nice, dude. Nice.
Lit up in April of 2017, much to the credit of Flip and Flop. Tonight, We were able to learn about Datura while exploring a morbid mystery involving one person whose curiosity got the best of them.
Person.
Whether their story is real or fake, it's difficult to argue the fact that it was effective, getting people talking, sharing well wishes, and crossing their fingers for an eventual update. As we know by this point, that update never materialized, and so we're all here, existing as onlookers and hoping for the slightest possibility that they made it through their experience alive. Much like all of you, I truly hope they're still with us. But as we all know, the only person that would be able to confirm that is the one that's vanished without a trace into internet history.
Dude, you know what's really eerie? If you go back on your Steam or like your Xbox Live friends list or anything and you see people that haven't been online in like 10 years, and it's like, what if there actually are deceased people on my friends list? You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm going to go get some food and pass TF out because I actually have to be at work in like 5 hours. So,
Oh.
yeah, I have to be in at 7 today. So anyways, I will talk to you guys later, and I'm going to break the chains. So you guys have a great rest of the night. And yeah, no raid just because nobody that I really know is on. But goodbye.
Peace.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow StampedeG on Twitch. Links are down below.